I thought at our age life would slow down.
Not with everything we need to coordinate.
My overtime, his basketball league,
My podiatrist and her PT.
his colonoscopy.
Her allergist.
We need to be in 2 places at once, which is no problem because the Iowa Clinic has over 40 specialties all in one place. So when our doctors want to coordinate our care, they just talk to each other.
Our doctors work together to figure out the best care for us, so we can go back to our busy lives, juggling our doctors, our careers.
Our grandchild.
Care how you want it. Visit iowaclinic.com.
All right, what's up? Welcome to a little. We got a lot going on in this show. Okay, I'm gonna mess with my camera here for just a minute. Aiden moved in the camera angle on me. We got the Iowa State women fourth quarter against Baylor. Iowa State wrestling in the Big 12 championships right now. It's been a really good morning for wrestling thus far. The women were rolling, and then Baylor applied this full court press. And Iowa State lost its mind for like 5 minutes. They've calmed down, but the problem is Baylor can't miss now. And the Cyclones trail by 5 with 6:30 to play. So certainly still a good game in Kansas City. Connor's down there covering the women. Jacqueline is in the city of Tulsa. I'm sorry, Rob Gray's in Ankeny. I'm in Bondurant. We will be heading south this week. But I'm like, there's just a lot going on with the censors right now, Rob Gray. And we're going to talk about the Iowa State men's game that's about ready to tip off in Manhattan. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing okay. I've been a little bit under the weather. I don't know if you noticed during the presser after the big win over BYU, 14-point comeback by Iowa State in the second half on senior night, my voice was just gone. So I'm recovering from a cold. Doing my best, and the voice is back. So
it's better to get sick this week than the next 2.
Exactly. I'm feeling pretty good.
Good. Real quick, before we get to the men's game, you're more up on the wrestling than I am. You cover it on a day-to-day basis, but I'm very in tune with it. This has been an awesome start for Iowa State, right? If you were to drop away for Iowa State, win a Big 12 championship tomorrow night, thus far in session 1, they've done it. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Bonus points in almost every match. Not at 125, but that was still a good result for Kyson Terracina. He's been kind of down since his dresser said since November.
That was huge.
Yeah, and the biggest one is Julian Broderson beating a seeded guy at 197. Broderson is also a guy that he's got talent, but hasn't always put it together. That's huge for Iowa State to get a win there. He gets the takedown, the only takedown of the match. And then Younger Bastida, 30-second pin. David Carr, pin. Bonus points everywhere else. A couple tech falls, maybe 2 or 3. It's exactly what you have to do to win the Big 12. And obviously, there's a long way to go. He just took care of the opening round, and 2 of Iowa State's wrestlers, top seeds, 141, Casey Swiderski, and sorry. What I meant to say is there's a lot to go, and
we're off to a good start.
Yeah, off to a great start
compared to last year. Like I remember last year at this time, and they had all those buys, which is this weird thing that if you don't follow wrestling, like these first round buys you actually don't want them because you can't acquire points. They had like 6 of them last year or something like that. And now they can accumulate some points early on and they're doing what they can. So really, it looks really good. If you're following the wrestling, and first championship since 2009 is what they're going for. They're off to a good start. Quick update on the women. They can't beat this full court press. I'm getting really frustrated. Game's gotten super physical. We're down to about 5 minutes to go. 5-point game, Cyclone basketball. Let's go down to Manhattan. I have boots on the ground down there in the form of my father. He's sending me updated pictures of the crowd, all that stuff. And really a peculiar type game. That's a horseshit call. Sorry. Sometimes I forget that I'm live.
That's all right.
This is why I don't do these. Aiden's been trying to push me to do these live shows like during the games, and it's just like I would end up getting canceled. This game is wild because it's like if you win it and Houston loses, you win a tie of the Big 12 championship. Houston plays right after you. The vibe that I've gotten from Iowa State the last couple of days is there's absolutely no thought of resting guys or anything like that. They are all in on this. They want that regular season championship, and who can blame them? This is what you play for, to be in this spot. I didn't think that they ever would, but I'm just curious, Rob, what kind of mood Kansas State's in, right? Because you would think we all thought that this game would be this huge rematch, and it still might be. There's still going to be some hostility towards Iowa State, I would think, but they're so far out of it that I don't know what to expect from Kansas State today. I could see it going either way.
I don't. I will say the one thing that stayed constant, even as Kansas State lost 4 in a row, starting with whatever you want to call it, the Tangate game in Ames, and had just fallen off the bubble since. There's still a really good defense, a top 25 defense by Ken Palm in almost every measure. Now, the thing to watch for, I think, is Iowa State turning the ball over, turning the Kansas State Wildcats over, because they're not good at taking care of the basketball. And Iowa State, of course, is top 2, top 3 in steal percentage, turnover percentage. And I don't think they'll be phased. I'm sure it'll be a hostile crowd. Bramlage always is. I mean, Kansas State, mathematically, it's not very realistic, but if they could win this game and go win the Big 12 tournament, I think they're in the NCAA tournament. Now that's a tall order, but they can cling to that hope. It's just a matter of how bought in are they to Tang at this point. If Iowa State comes out and lands a couple haymakers, gets on a roll by turning points off turnovers and gets off to a lead, establishes itself as the aggressor. How much fight do they have left in them?
We're on the same page. It feels like the start of this game is like really important.
Yeah. I know. I don't know if it's, got to shoot well early. I mean, obviously, Iowa State hasn't shot it great. I think the way they shot in the second half against BYU when they needed to is a great sign. I think the fact that Milan Momcilovic is struggling shooting, that's going to stop. He more or less said so. Availability yesterday that you watch, it's going to be back. Curtis Jones, though, is playing so great. And Taman coming off the game he had. I mean, Iowa State's positioned to not only play in Omaha, but really solidify themselves as a 2 seed. And winning this game, I think, would do it. So we'll see. Obviously,
I agree with you. I think if they win one of their next 2 games, that they're a lock as a 2 seed. That would be my guess. Either way.
Because it'll be. I mean, can't say what you want about Kansas State and how they've floundered down the stretch. To put it mildly, it's still a quality win and on the road.
Yeah.
And whoever you're going to play, your first game in Kansas City is going to be a quality win or loss. You hope win, because obviously you want fans to be happy and enjoy their time in Kansas City. But as you and Bloom have talked about, this is one of those, do you want to make a run all the way to the conference tournament title game with all the wear and tear and how hard these guys work day in, day out, every practice, every game? I think you always take it. But you just got to make sure no one's tank is lurching toward E at all, because what really matters is what comes after the Big 12 tournament, of course.
I think, I would say today's game's significantly more important than whoever they play on Thursday, even though it's the postseason. And you're going to have all these people in Kansas City. Like, today's a bigger game.
Absolutely.
Baylor just had a player basically hit a half-court shot at the end of the shot clock. Iowa State has responded, got it back within 4. Emily Ryan at the free throw line. The officials have completely lost control of it. There's just bodies all over the place. So this is just, if it turns into a free throw contest in the last 3 minutes, Iowa State is in a decent spot. We'll see. We'll keep you updated. having a hard time talking about the men's game right now until
Well, I'll
this
say
one
something
is.
about that game too.
Yeah, go for it.
Usually when officials kind of let the teams play, I know Baylor was whistling for very few fouls early. Iowa State wasn't whistling for that many more though. They kind of self-regulate. But I think
Yeah.
when Baylor throws in that press because they had to,
Great
and it's
point.
been wildly successful, which it often is, unfortunately, against Iowa State from a Cyclone fan's perspective, that's going to make things that much more physical because it's so tight, it's so harried, and unfortunately, that means they lose control. But at least Iowa State's hanging in there. That's a hallmark of this team with these 5 freshmen. Baylor could have knocked them out a little bit with that press and haven't been able to do it.
Addie Brown. The word flinch is not in her vocabulary.
Yeah.
Takes it to the house. Got an M1 opportunity coming up here. I think we just keep this. If you're cool with it, Rob, I think we stay live. Are you watching the game?
My Hulu with ESPN isn't working very well, so I'm following
okay.
along in the stats.
I'm gonna keep rolling here. Addie missed the free throw. Okay, Cyclones are down 2 now. 2 minutes to play. I got to be careful. I can't give play. I would just do play-by-play, but that's illegal. Somebody would try and sue me.
I mean, there isn't that much to analyze about that game. I mean, Kansas State just hasn't been good enough offensively lately, and I figure Iowa State, the way it defends and really asserted itself against BYU after getting shredded in that first half, man, they're firing on all cylinders on the defensive end again, and it's going to be tough for Kansas State to get any rhythm.
Yeah, and they're just not a very good offensive team anyways, right? The one thing will be I'd like to see some signs of Iowa State's offensive life. Like I know I've heard all the people who there's a certain portion of Iowa State's fan base that don't like anything remotely negative being said. The offense is dropping like it's sinking like a rock in every offensive metric in the last 3 weeks. It's just a fact. And you can give me their shooting percentage. I don't care. It's a fact. So that's the thing I would like to see. Is just some progress to show that I've been saying I'm not worried about the offense. I think it'll come back. I think this is a good offensive team. It's not a great offensive team. I think it's a good offensive team. But like you astutely pointed out right when we started this, it's just like, man, just force those turnovers, get the easy buckets because that's what leads to. They haven't had the live ball turnovers. Like, God damn it!
What happened?
Baylor missed a second free throw. They got the rebound, tied up for a jump ball, so now they keep the possession. Iowa State down 3.
Baylor
with
25 points off turnovers. Sorry, points off turnovers 25-5. Cyclones have turned it over 15 times, I believe, in the second half.
In the second half? My God.
They're up to 22. They're up to 22.
And now Baylor basketball and Iowa State, or Baylor just called a timeout. So there's 1:42 to play. Iowa State needs to stop here. Yeah, listen, the refs have completely let it get out of control, but Iowa State has not been able to have an answer to that press. And kind of, Baylor's a really big and athletic team, and the one thing I would say that this Iowa State team, when that pressure starts, it just feels like it's kind of Emily Ryan or bust, right?
Yes.
Like, wouldn't that be the thing that they probably try and work on between now and the NCAA tournament, because this is getting scouted, right? Like, this is
and the thing is, Baylor put on its press when the Cyclones were giving Emily Ryan a rest, and she's turned it over a couple times too, but it is Iowa State's Achilles heel. And I mean, when you have inexperienced players at this level, sure, you got Emily, but Hannah Mellinger, is new to this level, even though she's played a whole season. I guess she's a veteran at this level now, but it's tough. And Baylor's got the athletes to make you pay. And fortunately, they're not shooting the ball well. I mean, Baylor's one of its last 14 from the field.
Which is crazy that Iowa State's still losing after that.
It's the turnovers. Yeah, but you look at Addie Brown, 16 points, 6 of 9 shooting. Crooks has a lot of turnovers, but 21 points, 10 of 17. What's that?
Emily's going to the free throw line here. I believe so. Iowa State should be in the bonus.
This game is a marathon.
Oh man, yeah,
1:22
especially.
left.
Yeah. Okay, so Ryan's going to the free throw line, and Iowa State trails by 3 with 1:28 to go. She's their best free throw shooter. Good, 1 of 1.
That's to be 2 of 2.
The crowd looks okay for the. It's sad because I had a couple people reach out to me about how dead Power and Light was last night for the women's atmosphere. Made the second, so Iowa State trails by 1, just under a minute and a half to play. I do wonder.
I'm a little ahead.
Oh, you're a little ahead. You got good news coming.
Missed 3-pointer.
That's good.
Addie
Baylor
Brown
just keeps chucking, and yeah, like I literally tweeted Baylor can't miss, and then they've missed like 13 shots in a row since I did that. So perhaps. All right, so those of you just hanging out with us, I see Steve down there at Bromwich watching. There's a minute to go. Iowa State trails by a point.
Audie Crooks up 1.
Rob, just ruining it for everybody. It's okay. It's good news.
Okay, I'll stop it.
Down to Audie in the paint. Good. My favorite example of that and working the bad way. Do you remember when Paul Rhodes and Iowa State were playing Toledo and Matt Campbell in Toledo in that field goal? I was here, and the feed updated before I got to see the kick, and I knew that Iowa State missed it. It was one of the worst sports experiences. Missed 3, Cyclone rebound.
Yep.
All right, just keep Emily Ryan the basketball. She's going to get fouled, and she does.
She is.
Oh, hell yeah.
I guarantee it. Fun fact in that missed field goal.
I'm going to crack open a ice cold Busch Light for this ending. How about that?
That's a good idea.
I don't have any Ames Lager, Bloom, if you're paying attention.
All right.
There's going to be a lot of this today in the Williams house, kids.
Oh, boy.
All right, Emily. Close it down, buddy. Close it down. Good.
Every Cyclone who's played has a turnover. That's the not fun fact.
Emily just broke the career assist record, just past Nikki Moody. Congratulations. Yep. Good. All right. So Cyclones lead by 3, 19.2 on the clock. Baylor to inbound.
Full timeout. Sorry to spoil that. Baylor's taking full timeout. But not fun fact, every Iowa State player who's played has at least 1 turnover. More fun fact, all but 1 Iowa State player who's played has scored at least 1 basket. So,
there you go.
Naidu hits her only 3 attempt. I mean,
it just like, I know that Iowa State lost its mind during that press because we discussed Iowa State looks like the better team. Like I'm just going like, I'm dumb. Like, I don't think I'm smart. If I just watched this game, I think if these teams played 10 times, Iowa State would win 6 or 7. They don't have an answer for Crooks. Now, maybe Iowa State doesn't have an answer for that press, but I feel like that's something you can coach up. Baylor doesn't have an answer for Crooks. And Addie Brown, like, Crooks gets all the accolades, and she should because she's this generational type player that's going to do a lot of great things for women's basketball in Iowa State. But Addie Brown is like a freaking rock, dude. Like, she doesn't flinch.
She has 16, 12, and 4 today. So another double-double. Efficient shooting. She had some shooting struggles over the second half of the Big 12 season and had some games where she didn't put the points she wanted, but she always rebounded, always got those 3 to 5 assists a game. And it's just, she's a big basket, a clutch basket waiting to happen. Like you said, she doesn't flinch. She's built for a moment, Stress is excitement for her.
Audie Crooks is about to, like, her star is about to blow up in the offseason. You just watch. All right, here's the Baylor inbound. 16, Ooh. Long 3, miss. Baylor rebound. Shit. Block shot. Emily Ryan, go.
Yes. Yep. That's it. Going to the line.
5.9 on the clock, so Emily's just got to hit 1. 87%
I won't say anything.
free throw shooter. She's got to hit one.
I
Rob, you
won't
know
say-
something?
I won't say anything.
They didn't like foul up. They didn't give Finley a T or anything and not tell us, did they?
Nope, they didn't do that.
That was a great block by Ryan. That the gal whose shot she blocked is probably 4 inches taller than her. Blocked her on the free throws. Boom. Cyclones are going to the semis, baby, unless you do something really stupid here. You got to do something really stupid here to blow this game at this point.
4 seconds left, up 5.
You're talking like a double technical foul and a 3-point shot that goes in. Lead by 5, 5.9 on the clock.
Cyclones are on a 12-1 run, and Baylor is at one of its last 18 field goal attempts.
There's a lot of people who are watching this and really like what we're doing, Rob. Like, we're getting a lot of positive feedback on the feed right now.
Well, I enjoy this. It's a lot more fun than parsing every single advanced metric. As much fun as that is at times. I mean, this is a good dynamic. About this Iowa State Kansas State game. If Kansas State had played reasonably well after that game, of course there is, because you had the ridiculous allegations. You had this stuff from thrown media people throwing stuff, which didn't happen. And so you have a chance for some real rancor, some real, maybe there still will be, but it just feels like it's going to be a mismatch unless Iowa State really plays poorly.
My dad and Steve were out in Manhattan last night.
Oh boy.
And apparently people were very nice to them. Like, because they went out in Aggieville and wore their Iowa State gear, and like people just kept coming up to them and thanking them for like being there. So I told my dad, it's not like you guys are walking around looking for a fight either.
Yeah.
If it was like me and a couple of my buddies, it'd be Cyclones win, baby.
Yep. Baylor,
it's a good win.
Last 19.
Best type of win though is when you get, really when they really start coming at your ass and you've got to figure it out on the fly. That's a great win. That's a team win right there, man. That's like the culture type win. That's a perfect win.
Yeah, you weather the storm of, again, your Achilles heel, that press by an athletic team. You force them. I mean, sure, Baylor missed some open looks, but 1 of 19 down the stretch when they have control of the game. And Iowa State looks like they're in a shambles because of the press. Emily Ryan, 8 for 8 from the free throw line. 12 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds. I mean,
that's awesome, man.
The fact that she's coming back is
their preseason top 10. I'm calling it right now. Cyclones, preseason top 10. You got the gal from LSU coming in who's been sitting out. She's a nice looking prospect. You got a couple of these really, really nice recruits coming. This is a top 10 team next year, man. And I would not want to play them if I'm Iowa. If I'm Caitlin Clark and Lisa Bluter, I am terrified if Iowa State gets put on the 7 line and has to go to Iowa City because they don't have an answer for Crooks either. She is an absolute eraser when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, and keep in mind how good that game was in Ames too.
I know, and this was a shell of a team compared to what it is now.
Yep. No Emily Ryan. I mean, freshmen still developing. They're still developing, of course, but still really trying to find their identity. And that was a game that I think showed what this team could become. And we've seen it. 19-10 now. They were 5-4 when Emily came back.
And that's a hell of a lot of fun. I mean, it's a good time, isn't it?
Absolutely.
All right. I gotta get out of here. The men are gonna tip off in 5. Connor's gonna come on with his post-game show. So if you want some more analysis on this women's game, Connor Ferguson will have that from Kansas City with all of our March coverage. Great win. And boom. Moving on to the semis Monday night. I will be down there. I'll be heading down there Monday afternoon. And I think you're going to do the same, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah. We'll figure it out for sure.
Thank you. And we'll see you after the men's game, correct? You want to join me after the men's game?
Absolutely. Then, I got to do the road recap too. So I'll have to set up my little recordings for the radio quotes. But
well, I'm going to hold off on any more beer because I got a long day ahead of me. We got the wrestling. We got and then, we could be doing Big 12 championship talk later on if Kansas would beat Houston. So,
and
do one thing at a time.
Baylor, then you're a number 1 seed in the conference tournament, which is still nice, right?
That's crazy. I hadn't even thought about that, but you're right. So what's the scenario then? You have to
Sorry. Kansas has
for
to
Iowa
win
State.
at Houston, which is very, very unlikely.
Yes.
Iowa State needs to win in Manhattan.
And then
And
Baylor
Texas
has
Tech
to
needs
lose.
to beat Baylor at home.
Okay. And then everybody's trying to sell their tickets that they already bought for the third session.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate it. Thanks, brother.
Yep. Good.
Appreciate
Good
our
to be with you.
sponsor, Iowa Clinic Men's Center, Aiden, for producing. We'll be back after the men's game. Connor will be hopping on here any minute to break down the women's win over Baylor.